YouTubers, welcome to my channel Try It Yourself. In today's project I will be installing this Wyze Cam V3 version 3 model, and everything that I will be using in my project will be down there in the description for this video with the links if you're interested. So that's what this camera looks like, really small one with the mounting bracket. You can actually, when I was looking for one, I looked at many videos and I didn't see one that actually showing what kind of positions you can do it. You can actually turn it all the way around over here. So it has a screw hole. Also it comes with a magnet, but since I'm gonna be mounting on the outside, I'm actually gonna screw it, and I'm gonna screw it to the vertical wall, and it's gonna be pointing out like that. So I think it actually can go in any possible location, probably even like this, because the app has an option that you could rotate the image 180 degrees. So if you're gonna mount like this, that's common default position from the factory setting. But if somehow for some reason you have to mount it upside down, there is a setting on the app that you can do it, reverse it to 180. So if you're gonna for some reason mount it upside down like this, it's still gonna work. So this little tiny bracket, I mean, good pretty much for any possible situation. This camera is water resistant, and it actually gives you a couple options. You can subscribe, which is really cheap subscription to this camera, but it's for like $2.99 I believe. But also it has a SD memory card over here. You have one setup button and you have SD card over here, which with this option you can do continuous, but obviously for this thing to work, to make any sense, you're gonna have to install a battery backup in case you ran out of, or lose the power or whatever. So with that, not necessarily this is the choice that you have to make, but this is for the 255 watts, and according to this description, if you're gonna use something with a 10 watt power, it should last you 2.5 hours. Well, this camera is actually gonna using 5 watts, so you can mount 2 cameras. In my case, 2 cameras, and supposedly 2 cameras should last on this battery 2.5 hours. If you can have a single camera dedicated to this backup, it should basically double. So also this camera in the box comes with a power cable only 6 feet long, which could work in some situation. It's not gonna work for me because I gotta mount it on the outside of the garage and run the power inside the garage to the center, blah blah blah. So I bought extensions, which actually so I bought this 2 cables. Link for that is also going to be in the description. Those are 20 feet each, so this is going to be this should last me, should be long enough for my setup. So again, all of this parts that I will be using in my project will be in the description. Now I actually already connected one camera, so through the app it's fairly easy. So now I'm going to be connecting the other one so you could see, you know, how easy it is. So unpacking it, comes really nicely packed, I'd say. And it comes with a really weather protected sleeve over here, so when however you're gonna connect it, if this thing is outside, you are, the water's not gonna get in there. See, it's nicely protected inside the sleeve. So now we have light. And these wires that I bought additionally from Amazon, they actually have additional gasket on them. So not that I need it, but this is real nice what I was set up, because this cable is actually working not just for the Wyze cameras but for any other one. Anyway, so now that we have a camera over here, we're gonna open the Wyze app. So now we're gonna do add device, cameras, Wyze Cam 3. Pay attention because there is a Wyze Cam Pen 3. So in our case this is Wyze Cam 3, and you just follow the instructions. So the light in the front of the camera will flash red shortly after. Yes, we have that. Next, pull the base away from your Wyze Cam. V3, press setup under your camera. So that's the we're going over here. The one on the left, that's the SD card or micro SD card. This is setup. So we push it over here.
Ready to connect.
Okay. And just follow the instructions over here. I heard ready to connect. Yes.
Ready to connect.
Next. Over here, I already connected this app to my network. So yes, select your network.
Ready to connect.
And now we have a card. Now scan this below to the Wyze Cam. So now we're gonna have to show this thing to the camera.
QR code scanned. Please wait.
Now it's going through the setting. Over here I heard QR code scanned. Yes.
Setup completed.
Next. See how easy it is. Setup completed. And now I just have to name the camera. This is going to be my camera, because this one I already named front camera. This is going to be my backyard camera. Or you can actually pick your own name if you like. I mean, you can add, I guess, as many as you want on those cameras. So backyard camera. Finish. And now this is, they are advertising the subscription to this, to have a monthly subscription, blah blah blah. If you pay annually, I guess it's cheaper. So at this point I'm gonna go next, skip, and if you want to add somebody else to the account, you can share the device. Well, at this point, maybe later. And it's going through the new firmware available. Okay, we're gonna do the necessary update. Yes, update, and it's gonna update. So I don't know how much. Usually the first one didn't take much, maybe a minute or two. And actually it says, feel free to leave this page. Your camera will reboot when the update finishes. So you can do whatever your stuff. You actually can close this thing and you can continue when the update is finished. So obviously update is always recommended for whatever devices you use. I mean, I personally recommend, because normally each update sometimes could create more problems, but eventually, most of the time it actually fixes the previous problem. So now we're gonna wait until this thing finishes the update. That's it. So it took 2.5 minutes maybe. It started flashing, all done, your update went great. Done over here. And now you can just go through the setting. And the cool thing, when you install the SIM card, and if you don't know what the SD card, micro SD card. It looks like this, a tiny one, you know, the same one that I guess not every smartphone, because you can use them these days, but that's what it is. So you can actually view playback, but for that for the playback you either have to use the card or you have to upgrade over here. So at this point, basically without the card, without subscription, all you can have is live view, and it's gonna have all kinds of notifications over here. Like, see, I have a motion detected, so I'm doing over here motion, and so obviously the camera already working. And now you can go through the setting over here, camera offline. So front, I already have two cameras. Basically you can switch between them and basically look through the app at both locations. So when I'm gonna hook up this, I mean, I will have both of this available, but right now this one is disconnected, so obviously it says no power. This one I have connected, so that's what it looks like right now. Image not the greatest, so obviously if you look for the greatest camera, this is not it. But for the money, this camera is $35 plus something, you know, something like that. And compared to the, you know, the leading brands, you have to pay hundreds of dollars, especially because with the subscription and all of that, if you will figure out this one, basically give you flexibility. You either use the SIM card or SD card or micro SD card or subscription, which subscription is cheaper. So the quality is not the greatest. But so why did I pick this camera? I actually was doing some research for myself, and at some point I was looking for something better, and I actually interestingly started with a doorbell video camera or video doorbell, and eventually switched to this backup camera. So anyway, up until now we didn't have any cameras. Right now we're gonna have two, camera in the front and the back, and basically showing what's going on over here. I think at this point is going to be plenty for me. Yes, it's not going to be 4K quality video, but then again, I'm paying, this is like, you know, to get something like that, I need to pay like $300 more per year compared to this. So again, it's up to you, but when I will be done with the installation, I can show you the quality of outside. We'll see if I'm gonna have a video of the night. Probably I will later today. But anyway, so that's what it is. Unboxing, a setup, and now we're ready for the installation. Obviously you want to do the setup before you mount everything, you know, make sure everything's working right here on the table when it's really easy, all accessible, and then you can proceed to the next step. So next step is actually mounting, running the cables to the power source, and that's that. So we go to the installation. That's the front camera over here by the garage, and I have one in the back. What you can do with, well, both of those cameras is actually go to the advanced setting. No, actually you go to the setting, and on the detection setting you can pick detection zone. So that's the view, and that's the zone that I picked for the camera to detect. So just let's see. So now with the camera we're just gonna, this is live view. We'll see how fast this camera actually will detect me. Notification, how soon. So there's a little delay. I'm already at the camera. I'm inside the garage. I guess there's no notification when I'm looking at the camera, so let's try a different setting. So I still have to figure out the notification part, but that's right now is 8 p.m. Well, 8:17, and that's the picture from the cameras. That's the view. Pretty nice colors, but I just want to show you live view. That's what it looks like. It actually detected me, but for some reason there's no notification. So let's watch the playback. Right here, you can actually, when you have SD card, you can go pretty far back. "30 seconds. Okay, so you actually can turn sideways to have a really nice picture, nice view. That's me over here trying to play with the phone, figure out pose, and let's see if I could zoom it. Yep, so you actually can do this. So that's what the camera looks like. Pretty neat, I'd say, because its size, it's kind of not sticking out too much. So when you will be installing this, one thing to remember, when you're gonna have to run a wire, make sure you put either some kind of grommet there, gasket, or just a caulking, some kind of silicone or something. That way the wire will not get damaged when it's gonna get rubbed through the rubbing with the wind or whatever. You know, potentially this is just gonna be so much safer. So that's what it looks like, and I have one in the backyard as well. So it's been a week since I installed my two cameras on the house, one on the front, one in the back. And what can I tell you? I still haven't learned everything about this camera, by the way, but I guess the few key points. Do I regret buying this camera? No. Is this the best camera ever? Definitely no. And if somebody gonna tell you that this is the best camera, they're lying. I mean, obviously, if you're gonna take value, price, quality, and combine in all of that, that may be one of the best. Because of the, you know, what can you expect from the camera that costs $35? Basically, the way I look at it, I didn't have cameras at all before on the house, so this is upgrade from nothing. So pretty much anything that I can install, it's gonna be a good deal possibly. I think it still doesn't catch all of the motions. It actually, on some instances, it's actually catching too much. For example, in the middle of the night, if car driving by and the headlight goes over the house, over the trees, you can see the light just ran through the backyard. Camera catches that as a motion. The quality of the picture is very okay-ish. So basically, if you want to take a screenshot of the intruder or whatever, something like that, it's close to impossible. I mean, it's really impossible to look at the face and say who it is. You know, I guess you could have some, you know, close description of the video and stuff like that. But anyway, another thing is, by the way, this camera is advertising the color night vision, and you have three settings: one on off, one on, and one auto. So I have a camera in my backyard with the porch light on, in the really clear sky. moon night, this thing still on auto position, still go on black and white. So you actually, I had to reset it manually to a color version, and the picture's nice. So automatic settings is not quite working as it should. So I still probably gonna have to maybe work on the settings, because the sensitivity of the motion of the sound, this thing is detecting sound and motion, and you actually can set it, it's coming from the factory, like 40% sensitivity to motions and the noise or the sound. So you can reduce that from 0 to 100, so whatever works for you. Another cool thing about this camera, you actually can choose a detection zone. So let's say if you install this camera in front of the house, and cameras, I mean the cars driving by quite a bit often, you don't want that to just trigger it every time. So you can actually choose the zone, and in the way it gives you selecting the detection zone is like super flexible. The screen is actually divided on like probably 50 small squares, and you choose which ones are gonna be triggering the sensor and which one gonna ignore it. So this is a plus. Another one is another big thing, subscription. In 1 week I still decided not to go to, and unless something really drastically will get changed, then I will start considering. Right now I have installed a MicroSD card on my cameras. You have that option. Like I have this 64 GB, and if it's 5.5 days of straight recording, I don't know if it changes, because it's actually also saving the events. It's not separate folder, but more leaving a marker in a solid straight recording. So maybe if you simplify a few rules and all of that, maybe you'll get more. But I think for the 64 GB, 5.5 days, it's pretty cool. So another thing is you can set the notification on or off. For example, when you're at home and you're walking around the house all the time, or something just running and you're there in the house, you don't want this thing to disturb you for nothing. So you can create a whole bunch of rules, which again I didn't go through all of them. This thing has alarm, has the voice talkback and all of that. By the way, the voice part is like really primitive, so I mean don't expect much out of it. Again, this is $35 camera, I mean really, so you can make some noise out of it, but to have a good conversation back and forth with this camera, this is like really doubtful. So with this recording, 5.5 days on this card, I mean, I'm guessing mathematically, if you install like 32 gig micro SD card, that should record like almost 3 days for you. So that you can go just back and forth and record. So for example, like during the day when I have the motion or sound detection, notification is off, it still record the markers, whatever activity. So for example, it's a cool thing, let's say you don't want this thing to disturb you in the middle of the night, but then you want to go through the night and just, okay, you just go through the event, there's event folder, and it show you like 3 AM there was a motion detection, and you just look at the timing, just look over there. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff cool about this camera, and I guess the biggest advantage of this camera is the price, and you can be totally independent with this camera. But like I said in the beginning of this video, you gotta have to have a backup battery, because let's say if you're gonna lose the power, obviously I'm assuming you need to have a backup also on your router, because this is everything tied up to your home network. If you're losing the power to your cameras or power to your router, to your home network, to the internet inside the house, you're not gonna have the video picture saved anywhere. So I guess you're not gonna be able to see it, you know. So that's another thing. Remember to have a backups with this camera. So at this point, I'm not sure if I mention everything about this camera. So if you guys interested, just leave questions, comments about this camera, and I will try to get back with you and answer whatever questions you have. But anyway, overall, am I satisfied with this purchase? 100% yes. But the biggest thing is the price, because I don't think the camera, the cameras that like a higher ranked, that you could pay like hundreds of dollars, you know, especially with a subscription, I doubt you're gonna have much better quality than this one. So for $35, that's what this camera does, and I think it's a good upgrade from nothing. Like in my case, I didn't have anything, now I have this camera. I think it's worth it. So anyway, so that was my first review about this camera. I'm probably gonna have to do some kind of annual review or something when this thing survive a winter, because right now it's spring, so I don't know how this thing should survive a cold winter. I'm in Indiana, by the way, so we could have a pretty strong winters over here. So update will be coming. If you have questions, please, and if this video was helpful for you, shoot me a like, and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you and good luck.